What's good, beautiful people? What's good? This is your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. I am so grateful to be back here with you guys. And I know it's been quite some time since I've given you guys Chalk It Up Sports Daily, and I truly apologize for that. Um, these past 10 to 14 days have been extremely hectic for the kid. And, I can't take for granted, the amount of people who still rock with your boy. I can't take for granted the amount of people who still love my content. I still have to earn the trust of you guys. And I think it's idiotic of me to believe that I've arrived. I think it's short-sighted of me to believe that, oh, there's no more work left to put in. And that's just not realistic, and that's just not how I think, really. But I think it's important to always remain humble throughout the process. I think it's pivotal in one's development. And there's no way this content will continue to grow without you guys. But like I said, I've been MIA on YouTube for the past 10 to 14 days, and um a lot of things have been going on. Work has been picking up for me. I went on a vacation with my wife. We went to Orlando Studios, which was amazing, and uh, I had to cover the NFL draft out in Atlantic City for JK Media. So a lot's been going on. Oh, and on top of that, my brother graduated from college over the past weekend. So I've just had the most busy previous 10 days, 14 days that you could probably think of. Family, wifey, work, whatever you think happened, it probably did happen. And I just appreciate you guys for locking in on the content. Shout out to my man, Philly the podcast for locking in. He always holds it down in the live stream for me. I appreciate it, man. Philly says you were in my hood. I ain't even say what's up. Wow. My brother, you know what's so crazy? I forgot that you live in Florida because I know you always say you're from Connecticut. And Connecticut always triggers in my mind when I think about you, right? So my bad, man. I definitely should have said something, but bro, Orlando Studios, man, City Walk is off the chain. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I love Orlando Studios. It was my first time there. It was my wife's first time there, and if you guys have been to Orlando Studios before, wow. Let's talk about City Walk. City Walk is such an amazing experience. So many restaurants, so many bars, and so many things to do, and so many dessert places like Voodoo Donuts. Shout out to Voodoo Donuts, man. Voodoo Donuts is wild. If you guys haven't had Voodoo Donuts, y'all don't know what y'all missing. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Uh, but then and then Orlando Studios in general, right? The rides, I'll be honest, I haven't been to an amusement park in so long. And amusement parks, I used to always think, especially now that I'm 27, for some reason I think like, damn, I'm above amusement parks at times. Like I don't like standing in line. See, I was getting frustrated. There was moments throughout the trip where I was getting frustrated with the whole process of being in an amusement park. Think about it from this perspective: waiting in lines, and those big time amusement parks like Orlando Studios, the lines be crazy. Wait times be like 30, 40, 50 minutes, sometimes 60 minutes at times. And, dealing with all these kids running around screaming and it's it just made me realize that, amusement parks are not my element anymore. And uh you know, I'm just grateful that I was able to go out there and experience Orlando Studios. I love Jurassic World. I love the Dr. Seuss Dr. Seuss's world. I love Hogwarts, Harry Potter's world. I love that as well. Man, what else did I do there? The Spider-Man ride is crazy. I'm not gonna lie, the Spider-Man ride is off the chain. That's a fact. That is an absolute fact. But ultimately, it's important to get that time with family. My brother graduated from college and he got his bachelor's degree and he majored in sports administration, sports management, something like that. And I'm just proud of the kid. Dude really amazes me time and time again. And I don't really take for granted, family, being able to spend that time with family. I don't take for granted, being able to go see my brother graduate from college. We got a lot of friends that didn't really make it. It's a lot of people that we love. didn't really have the opportunities that we had. And I got to give a shout out to my parents before we get into the sports content. I gotta touch base with you guys, man. We can ease the sports stuff is always gonna be there, but I gotta bare my soul to you guys, right? You know, this this family shouldn't ever be under undervalued. And we had a huge turnout of family that showed out to my brother. Uh, graduating, he graduated from Indiana University of Pennsylvania, and just proud of him, man. I can't really put it into any more words. I graduated from college in 2017 from California University of Pennsylvania. He graduated from IUP 2022, and now my parents have two college graduates. And that not everyone can actually say that they were able to get both their kids through college. Not many parents are able to do it. And sometimes I think about it from this perspective, right? Whenever I do have children, I think about the fact that maybe, whenever I have children, my wife is also a college graduate, and whenever I have children, my children are going to have two parents that are college graduates. They're going to have an uncle who graduated from college, and college isn't for everybody at all. I don't believe that. I don't believe college is for everybody. I feel like everyone has their lane. Everyone has a role to play in their own success. And college may not be the route for people, but I believe in hard work. I believe in having a plan, regardless of college, regardless if it's a vocational school, a trade school, regardless if you are an entrepreneur and you go into business for yourself and you start a business from the ground up, regardless if you work your average 9 to 5, whatever it is. I believe it's important to have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, then what are you doing? You're kind of sleepwalking through life. That's just my humble opinion. And I'm not really a judgmental person. I don't think so. Some people may say otherwise, but I'm not really a judgmental person. I usually try to give people the benefit of the doubt, because circumstances dictate everything. Sometimes people don't have the family support that they deserve or that they need, that I'm blessed to have. Some people um, grow up in neighborhoods that that never really get them a fair shake. It's a lot of kids that look like me that never had a fair shake growing up. It's some kids that look like y'all that never had a fair shake growing up, and you can't take for granted the opportunities that we do have. Can't take for granted the trials and tribulations that we've experienced, and that's what I try to get across through this content. Outside of me just talking about the game, NBA, the NFL, the Eagles, the Sixers. Outside of just talking about that, I want to give you guys a little food, right? I want to give you guys a little slice of life, and I always want to let you guys know I'm in your corner. I support any and everybody in what they do. If you got a plan, if you don't have a plan, it's hard for me to get behind you. It's hard for me to campaign for you, right? It's hard for me to empathize if you don't have a plan. And sometimes plans don't go according to plan. But how do you respond when you get punched in the mouth? That is huge. I was punched in the mouth a lot in college, figuratively, of course. Figuratively. My brother, same thing. Trials and tribulations. College can kick your ass at times. And whatever it is, trade school, your job, family, children, it all can weigh you down, but it's important to remind yourself to have a plan. Don't forget your why. Don't forget your purpose. And I'm here to regain my purpose. I'm here to continue to earn the trust and respect of not only my peers, but also you guys who support Chalk It Up Sports. And Chalk It Up Sports doesn't exist without the people. That's a fact. Chalk It Up Sports is irrelevant without the support of you guys. But I'm going to continue to give you guys daily doses of content, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Yes, I know I missed out on a lot these past couple weeks, but I had to decompress. I had to take that time for myself, my wife, my family, and also just building my footprint in my industry. Life is exciting. Life is trending in the right direction, and I'm just thankful to be a part of an amazing family. I'm grateful to have my wife in my corner. I'm grateful to work for such a dope company in JK Media. I'm really grateful to just be able to communicate with you guys. And let's continue to put in that work. Let's continue to stay humble, stay healthy, and stay hungry. And at the end of the day, y'all, no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Let's get to it now. Man, I haven't spoken to you guys since the NFL draft, right? I know I've dropped some videos here and there spotty, but I haven't spoken to you guys directly in live fashion since the NFL draft, prior to the NFL draft. And I just want to have a quick conversation with you guys about that, because let's be frank about this. This NFL draft, and I'm going to ask you guys this question as well. Do you guys believe that this NFL draft was arguably the best NFL draft on Howie Roseman's resume? Do you guys believe that Howie Roseman executed the best draft of his career? I know prior to the draft, once the offseason started, we really questioned how and why Howie Roseman got this contract extension. And a lot of us began to really wonder, like, how can someone who has failed time and time again continue to not just keep their job, not just get paid, but be extended without showing results? Now, granted, I will give Howie Roseman this level of respect. Howie Roseman has struggled in drafts prior to last year's draft and this year's draft. He had a very good draft last year, drafting Devonta Smith, Landon Dickerson, Patrick Johnson. Who else did we draft in last year? It was just Kenny Gainwell, Zach McPherson, Jacoby Stevens. He had a fairly decent draft last year. And we saw that, okay, he's trending in the right direction. He was actually able to get production out of his young rookies. Most teams don't really get production out of their rookies so soon. Most rookies aren't really thrown in, especially third-day rookies as well, like Kenny Gainwell, who gave us 5 touchdowns. You think about Landon Dickerson, who was forced to come in because Isaac Samalu got hurt. Landon Dickerson took over at the left guard spot, was damn near flawless. You think about Devonta Smith being ultra productive on the offensive end, being one of the better wide receivers on 20-plus yarder receptions. Eagle Slayer, you might be right. Perhaps this is the best Philadelphia Eagles draft in years. I can't think of one better. I can't think of an NFL draft class that we've had in my years of living that has had this much upside. I can't think of a draft class in my recent memory that can potentially produce, at minimum, 3 starters for the Philadelphia Eagles. Legit starters, bona fide. And then I don't remember us being this aggressive on draft day. I just don't. It never was in Howie Roseman's DNA. Aggression, taking risk. That was never in Howie Roseman's DNA. Never. When was the last risk he took prior to trading for AJ Brown? Trading Carson Wentz? Maybe. He took a huge dead cap hit for that. That's the kind of decision that could make or break your career. Granted, I don't think in any other organization he would have been given as long a leash as Jeffrey Lurie has given him. But Howie Roseman redeemed himself. Eddie Webster, thank you for reminding me about Milton Williams out of Louisiana Tech, right? A lot of guys out of that draft class was able to produce. A lot. Teron Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So not many GMs would have been able to have had the long leash that Howie Roseman has had throughout his career with the Philadelphia Eagles. Jeffrey Lurie trusts him. And Howie Roseman is beginning to earn my trust back. I'm not going to deny that. Howie Roseman has earned my trust back. Now, these players obviously have to pan out, but that's not on him anymore. He brought in the legit talent, guys that are unquestionable. All we wanted from Howie Roseman was for him to bring in unquestionable talent. Give your coaching staff a Rolodex of guys that they can use and nurture and develop. Go for guys that we can say without a shadow of a doubt, okay, we know what that guy did in college. He's a bona fide stud, a blue chipper. We arguably got 2 blue chippers. Arguably, Jordan Davis out of Georgia, UGA. Nakobe Dean out of UGA. Then you potentially got your future center for the next 10, 15 years in Cam Jurgens, who's going to take over for Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce handpicked him. Jason Kelce was working with Howie Roseman, close hand in hand, saying, listen, this is the guy you want to get. He reminds me the most of what we need here, what we do here. You feel what I'm saying? So I think it's important that we give Howie his flowers. As much as it pains some of us to do so, we have to give him his flowers. I agree with you, Eagle Slayer. I'm still in shock. I can't believe we got Nakobe Dean in the 3rd round. That blows my mind to this day. I feel bad. Selfishly, I'm glad he fell to us because we skipped on him a couple times. Selfishly, I'm glad he fell to us. But at the same time, it sucks that he was robbed of being able to take care of his family. What I mean by that is, let's be totally clear. Nakobe Dean lost millions. He lost millions because he wasn't drafted in the 1st round when he was supposed to get drafted in the 1st round. Even being or falling out of the 2nd round, Nakobe Dean lost millions because of rumors regarding his health. That sucks to me. And I've done a little research here and there, and come to find out, you have agents who spew out rumors on other players that are not their clients, so their own clients can get drafted ahead of the player they're talking ill about. That's a dirty game. That's a dirty game. Sometimes even organizations leak information so a guy can fall to them. They don't care about paying him what he deserves. The NFL is all about production and value. If your production doesn't match your value, or if your so-called value doesn't match your production, there's always going to be a disconnect between the player and their organization. Nakobe Dean had tremendous value where we drafted him, yet he took a major pay loss. But maybe this situation, falling in Philadelphia, was the best situation for his long-term career. The best situation for him to get his footing in the NFL. Being drafted to the same organization as one of your close friends in Jordan Davis. The Philadelphia Eagles drafted 2 championship pedigree players. 2 of them, guys who are national champions, guys who know how to win, know what it takes to win, guys who are leaders. Nakobe Dean was a leader, the bona fide orchestrator, the maestro for the Georgia Bulldogs when they took out Alabama in the national championship. And what's interesting about it all, really, is the fact that they lost in the SEC championship to Alabama. Alabama pretty much controlled that game. And easily, UGA could have took their ball and went home. UGA could have easily lost sight of their ultimate goal, but once they knew they had a shot at the national championship and that they were going to play Alabama again, they said, it's game time. It's redeem time now. It's time to recover. You can have that SEC championship. We'll take the national. It takes a strong-willed individual to be able to keep his team on the same page, to keep the focus, to not lose sight of what could potentially come. The Philadelphia Eagles are really grateful to have Nakobe Dean. They're really grateful to have a guy like Jordan Davis. He's a mammoth of a man, a mountain. Nakobe Dean, a bona fide leader, a guy who's going to hold you accountable, a guy who's going to know the playbook like the back of his hand. Engineering major, really intelligent guy. That guy is going to be the brain trust on the defense. I see Nakobe Dean becoming a starter. If not this year, he will be a starter next year. He will overtake TJ Edwards at some point. I highly doubt TJ Edwards gets an extension after this year, especially if Nakobe Dean snaps out and outplays him in the preseason and training camp and so on and so forth. TJ Edwards, cuff your bag, man, because Nakobe Dean coming for it. Cuff it. And, like I said, this draft class for the Philadelphia Eagles is really good in my opinion. You got Jordan Davis at D tackle, Nakobe Dean at inside linebacker, may play the will. Then you got Cam Jurgens, center out of Nebraska. Kyron Johnson, linebacker out of Kansas. Grant Calcaterra, tight end out of Oklahoma. And it's interesting because Kyron Johnson, to me, he's one of the more intriguing draft picks to me. He's really intriguing to me because Kyron Johnson, he played at Kansas, and Kansas isn't really known for their football program, if we're being completely honest. They're not really the most stacked. But Kyron Johnson is someone who dominated the first-round pick in Trevor Penning in the one-on-ones at the Senior Bowl. Kyron Johnson is a bullet train. And he plays the game fast. He's 6 foot, 235 pounds, and I really like what he brings to the table. As a matter of fact, Kyron Johnson being drafted in the 6th round, he might be a steal because of the way he plays the game. Here's the unique thing about Kyron Johnson. 3-year starter, right? Very stout frame. Flexible, quick, has great pursuit. He's definitely going to be a special teamer. And here's the interesting thing about him. Even though he was a linebacker, he was most productive when he was on the edge for Kansas. He was most productive when he was a pass rusher. You feel what I'm saying? So when you think about it from that perspective, the Eagles actually drafted themselves another edge rusher. They re-energized, rejuvenated that defensive line. And most likely the Philadelphia Eagles are going to play a 3-4 defense. They're probably going to go back and forth between a 3-4, 4-3, 5-2. You're going to see combinations. But now Jonathan Gannon has guys on his defense that are multiple. He has guys on his defense that are multiple. The closest linebacker he had that could have been multiple was Devonta Taylor. Other than that, there's no linebacker in that room other than Nakobe Dean, Kyron Johnson, Devonta Taylor, Kaiser White, Hassan Reddick, who were multiple. As much as I love TJ Edwards, he never was multiple. He never was versatile. He got better in pass coverage this past season, but he was never versatile. He's a better run stuffer. Sean Bradley, more so your traditional Mike. Not really that versatile, though. A great special teamer. Great special teamer. Temple made. Got a lot of love for him. But hasn't really shown that ability to be able to get on the field regularly, except for special teams. And he does very well in special teams. So it's really interesting to see how Kyron Johnson, the linebacker out of Kansas, is going to fit into this thing with the Philadelphia Eagles. As a matter of fact, my man ran a 4.4 40-yard dash. Has a 39-inch vertical, a 10-foot broad jump, and a 6.98 cone time. He's an athletic freak at that position. If Kyron Johnson can fine-tune his skill set, his technique, if he can find a way on the field, the Eagles are going to have some athletes on the defensive side of the ball. You still got a guy like Devonta Taylor, who's an athlete. Hassan Reddick, who's going to be playing the edge. You play a guy that much, he's going to be on the edge. He's an athlete. You know what I mean? So I'm really pleased with this draft class. This draft class is very versatile. And then you can't forget trading for A.J. Brown. Come on. You cannot you can't knock the technique. Howie Roseman, I'm astounded. I'm astounded. Let's do some shout outs real quick before I keep going. Shout out to my man Philly the podcast, Joe Castro, Eagle Slayer 95, Eddie Webster. How you doing? Ryan Rowe, John B. What's going on, you guys? Grateful for you guys being here. I was telling everybody, if you're just hopping in, I was telling everybody that, you know, I was kind of MIA for the past 10 to 14 days. I was busy covering the NFL draft for JK Media. I was working with those guys. Had the pleasure of meeting guys like Derek Gunn, Seth Joyner, Mike Quick, Devin Caney. I worked with her before. She's dope, but I worked with her in a closer capacity. Mark Farzetta, really great dude. Rob Bellis. You know, shout out to Joe Kraus and Xander Kraus. Those guys are amazing. Shout out to JK Media, John McMullen, Barrett Brooks, Jordan McDonald, Dan Cilio. Shout out to those guys, man. Really a great roster that they're building. And I'm just grateful to be a part of the team. Shout out to Jeffrey Kerr as well. He's also a part of the team as well. Devin Caney is a part of the team. So I was literally covering the NFL draft for J-Kid, working an event in Oceans Casino. And then right after that, I had a vacation lined up with my wife. We went to Orlando Studios. What an amazing trip. What a spectacular time. I felt like a kid again. And then right after that, I had to go to Indiana, PA for my younger brother's college graduation. He graduated with his bachelor's degree in sports administration. So a lot's been going on since not last Thursday, but the Thursday before. A lot's been going on for the past 10 to 14 days. Been super busy, but I'm glad you guys are still loyal to the soil. I'm really glad you guys are locking in. We got 12 people here. Make sure you guys smash that like button. You know, if you guys are new to the content, I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to trust it to the game. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. The tag is below. There it is. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter and also follow me on Instagram at DeShields _. But yeah, man, the Philadelphia Eagles truly have done an amazing job this offseason. Let's really think about the offseason additions, really. You bring in Hassan Reddick, Kazir White, Zach Pascal, which was underwhelming at the time, but now it looks like a smart move. You re-sign Boston Scott. You re-sign Anthony Harris. You restructure Darius Slay. You bring back Fletcher Cox. You bring back Jason Kelce. You draft Jordan Davis. You draft Nakobe Dean. You trade for A.J. Brown. You draft Cam Jurgens. You draft Kyron Johnson. You draft Grant Calcaterra. Now, if there's anything that stands out, is the fact that we still need to solidify that DB room. We still need to get a safety somehow. I know Chuck Clark is on the market. We still need to get a corner. I know James Bradbury is on the market. I fully expect Howie Roseman to be aggressive. He's done a lot so far. And we have a lot of youth in that cornerback room with Kerry Vincent Jr., Tay Gowan, Mac McCain, Zach McPherson. A lot of youth. A lot of guys who want to earn that starting spot. We also picked up a lot of undrafted free agents. I actually can't remember who we got. I really can't remember who we have. I got to look it up. But overall, the Eagles have done an amazing job. So here we are. Give me 1 second. They brought in Carson Strong. They brought in Josh Blackwell, cornerback, Reed Blankenship, safety, Kennedy Brooks, running back, Brenton Covey, wide receiver, William Dunkel, offensive lineman, defensive tackle, Noah Ellis, linebacker, Ali Fayyad, cornerback, Mario Goodrich, cornerback, Josh Jobe, offensive lineman, Josh Sills, quarterback, Carson Strong, offensive lineman, Jared Williams. The Philadelphia Eagles brought in 3 cornerbacks and 1 safety. on the undrafted free agent pool, the undrafted rookies. They brought in 4 DBs. Those guys will challenge Kevon Wallace. They will challenge Marcus Epps. They will challenge Zach McPherson, Tay Gowan, Kerry Vincent Jr., Matt McCain. I like what Howie Roseman is doing. I like what he's doing. He is building up this DB gauntlet, whereas though the cream has to rise to the top. Only the strong will survive and make the roster. He's putting so much competition in that DB room. Guys are going to elevate their games beyond measure. I like that. I love the dog-eat-dog mentality. I absolutely love it. I love the gladiator mindset. Don't judge a man in a moment of peace. Judge me in a moment of chaos. Judge me when I had the utmost things stacked up against me. Zach McPherson, spot is not safe. Kerry Vincent, not safe. Tay Gowan, you're not safe. Matt McCain, you're not safe. Kevon Wallace, you're not safe. Marcus Epps, you're not safe. Josh Blackwell's coming. Reed Blankenship is on his way. Mario Goodrich, Josh Jobe, Josh Ellis on their, what is his name? Josh Jobe, yes, on their way. On their way. So I'm really excited for what the Eagles have done. And when you think about the offensive side of the ball, no more excuses for Jalen Hurts at all. None. You bring in A.J. Brown. You still have Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, Quez Watkins, Miles Sanders, Kenny Gainwell, Zach Pascal, who's most likely your wide receiver number 4. And you have Greg Ward and Jalen Reagor who are going to battle for that wide receiver 5 spot, but they also brought in another wide receiver through undrafted pool. And they still got John Hightower on the roster. Devin Allen, who knows if he'll make the roster. But the bottom line is, when it comes to those skill positions, the cornerback position and the wide receiver position, the competition is there, and the cream will rise to the top. You dig what I'm saying? I like what Howie Roseman has done. Now, let's be honest. The offseason didn't seem bright at all. We had a lot of questions. What would he do to help Jalen Hurts? How can you judge Jalen Hurts properly if you don't put the talent around him? Now, we can't say that, you guys. All the Jalen Hurts fans, and I'm one of them. I love Jalen Hurts. All the Jalen Hurts fans, all the Jalen Hurts stands, rather, because I love Jalen Hurts, but I love the logo more. You dig what I'm saying? So anybody who is willing to jump off a cliff for Jalen Hurts, make sure you buckle up, because it's going to be a hell of a ride. And guess what? He's the one driving. It's not up to Howie Roseman anymore. It's up to Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and Shane Steichen to get this offense on track, and Brian Johnson. It's up for those guys to prepare Jalen Hurts for what's to come. Best believe Nick Sirianni is going to throw the playbook at Jalen Hurts. He's not holding back this year. He's not going to hold back this year. Think about how last season started. Jalen Hurts had that really great game week 1, and then it was downhill from there from the passing game. But Eagles were able to turn it around with the running game, simplified the playbook for Jalen Hurts, simplified his reads. But now, no more babysitting, no more training wheels on his offense, no more binkies, no more baby bottles. It's time to sink or swim, Jalen Hurts, and I'm a fan. I want you to be the franchise quarterback. I believe that everything you stand for is what the city needs. You are a franchise caliber human, but are you a franchise caliber player? That is the $1 million question. Rock the Artist loves his Philadelphia Eagles and 76ers. I feel you, man. The 76ers, they have the momentum. They got to play in Miami tonight, and we're going to talk about that as well. I'm excited with the personnel, but I watched the coaching staff consistently put together incompetent game plans, having players out of position. The coaches are the ones who shouldn't be safe. Interesting. That begs the question, did they ever have the personnel that was necessary to really get done what they wanted to get done? Did Jonathan Gannon have the personnel he requested or needed at the time to execute his defense properly? Did Nick Sirianni have all the pieces he really wanted on the offense side of the ball to execute his game plan? Last year, I put a lot of it on Jalen Hurts. I put a lot of it on Nick Sirianni, but I got to give both of them credit for staying true, being productive, and winning at all costs. Got to respect that. But at the end of the day, last year was last year. Now, you have the personnel. You have the talent. Jalen Hurts has A.J. Brown. In my humble opinion, a top 10, top 12 wide receiver in this NFL. One of the best wide receivers after the catch. One of the best wide receivers on 20 yards or more catches. He's a big play guy. A big body that will not be denied. A red zone threat. And he fits this offense like a glove. Big body, not afraid to get his hands dirty, not afraid to block. He is the perfect wide receiver for this offense. He perfectly complements what Devonta Smith does. Wouldn't you agree? Devonta Smith, the route running technician. Quez Watkins, the speedster that can take the top off the defense. A.J. Brown, the big body, 360-degree catch radius wide receiver, physical, not afraid to put his shoulder pad down. A guy that's going to demand respect. A guy that's going to demand the most out of his peers. Oh, yeah. Still got Dallas Goedert waiting. Oh, yeah. Miles Sanders in the contract year going to ball out. Oh, yeah. Still got Kenny Gainwell with the best offensive line in football. Book it. The Philadelphia Eagles is coming for what they owe. That's just how I see it. But let me ask you all this before we transition to basketball. What does Jalen Hurts need to do to earn franchise quarterback status? We got 10 people in the live stream. Make sure you guys comment below in the live chat. I have a question. What does Jalen Hurts need to do in order to secure franchise quarterback status? Cameron Holmes says, I'm surprised Brooks didn't get drafted. He was running back one for Oklahoma ever since he was a freshman. Had over 1,000-yard season every year in college. Slasher's response to that is Brooks had domestic violence issues, and he doesn't really have true running back speed. Interesting. Taylor Walker Devon. He says they had Rager over Quez and Ward. Slay lining up 10-plus yards away from his man. Slim not getting targeted until the second half. Okay, so are you talking about the playoff game or are you talking about the entire season? Because in the playoff game against the Buccaneers, you're right. We were playing off of the line of scrimmage. They prioritized Rager more than Quez and Ward, which was blasphemous to me. And Devonta Smith didn't get targeted into the second half or the final minutes going into the second half. So I see what you're saying, but I think your point more so applies to that Buccaneers game. And also that Giants game as well, where Jalen Rager had way too many targets. Should have never had 10 targets at all or 8 targets. Never. Never. In no world is Jalen Rager ever supposed to get 10-plus targets. Who knows what happens to him after this point? But like I asked you guys, what does Jalen Hurts need to do in order to secure franchise quarterback status? What do you need to see from Jalen Hurts? Comment below. I need to know. Don't be shy, because this is your guy, right? This is the guy y'all want to be the franchise QB. This is the guy y'all believe in. Do not be shy. What do you want to see from Jalen Hurts this year? Because this is it. This is it. He has no other option but to swim. He has no other option but to make it. This is no longer on Howie Roseman anymore. We should not be looking at Howie Roseman's direction at all for the rest of the year. We should not be looking in his direction at all for the rest of the year. Slasher says, I think Hertz needs to just improve as a passer. Maybe some numbers like 3,600 yards, 65% completion percentage, 25 touchdowns. Those are good numbers. Those are pretty fair numbers, especially when you factor in his play style. Rock the Artist has accuracy. You're right. You're so right. Accuracy is where he needs to tighten up. I have no problem with Jalen Hurts' throw power. I have no problem with Jalen Hurts' arm talent or arm strength. For me, it's all about accuracy and anticipation. The two A's. The two A's. Accuracy and anticipation. If he can get those two down pat, Jalen Hurts can be deadly for the NFL. Scoob says, for me, nothing. Some will be typical because he was a second round pick. Kyler Murray is a prime example, and he about to get paid. I don't see the difference between the two. So there's nothing you need to see from Jalen Hurts, to show that he's improved. There's nothing you need to see Scooby-Doo. Cam Holmes says my thoughts on Nick Sirianni. Look, I like Nick Sirianni as a head coach, but he still has to earn he still needs to earn my admiration. I love Nick Sirianni, but he still needs to. I like him as a head coach. Let me rephrase that. I don't love Nick Sirianni. I like Nick Sirianni, but he still needs to earn my admiration. He still needs to earn my respect because of the simple fact that, his play calling was questionable at times. But I really loved that he is not an egotistical coach. I love the fact that his ego is very small. He's not prideful, and he's not afraid to change what he's doing in order to win games. I like a coach that knows how to make adjustments on the fly. The type of adjustments he made last season isn't normal. It's not easy to do as a new head coach for a football team. Just not easy to do. But he needs to earn he still has a lot of work to do in my book. I like him though. Rock the Artist says he needs to learn how to read defenses, stop running a lot, improve as a quarterback, period. Okay. I mean, ultimately, you're right. Reading defenses and throwing with anticipation and accuracy. So, football IQ, anticipation, accuracy. Those are all very, very realistic things that he needs to work on. And the word is he's put in a lot of work with guys in the off season. I think his name is Tim House or Tom House, something like that. Tom Brady's quarterback coach, Southern Cal. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it pans out with all these weapons. And I love that A.J. Brown is there because A.J. Brown is his best friend, and A.J. Brown really wants Jalen Hurts to succeed. And A.J. Brown's going to do everything he can to make sure Jalen Hurts succeeds. And I like that. Their chemistry is going to be astronomical. Taylor Walker. Jaylen needs to have the defense be the reason we don't make it to or advance in the playoffs. Anything else, and they will boot him. I personally just want to see the consistent improvement on the deep ball. It's funny you say that, Tyler, because when you think about it from this perspective, Jalen Hurts really, like, the offense was able to put up points. They were able to put up points, but defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. So I get what you're saying. Cam Holmes says, I think Hurts' pocket presence also needs to improve. I can agree. What's up, Eagles Realist? How you feeling? Slasher says, exactly. We have to remember Hertz is like a Lamar Jackson-esque player. He isn't going to give you 4,400 to 5,000 passing yards a season with 35 to 40 touchdowns. But if he can get 3,600 to 4,000 passing and 600 rushing, hey, you might be onto something. I believe Hertz will take a big step. He obviously has his issues, but having Rager as your wide receiver 2 wasn't ideal at all. You're right. I get what you mean. But I would love to see 4,000 passing yards. I've been on record saying that. 4,000 passing yards and 30 passing touchdowns. I've been on record saying that. I've been on record saying that. All right, but nonetheless, great draft class for the Philadelphia Eagles. Great job by Howie Roseman. Jalen Hurts has a lot of pressure on him. But let's transition to talk about these Philadelphia 76ers because, man, the Philadelphia 76ers have truly put us on a roller coaster. They have been up in the series 3-0, allowed a team to come back to 3-2, and then close it out. That's nerve-wracking. We've been without our star player, our superstar player in Jalen Embiid for 2 games in the second round, going down 0-2 in Miami. Then he comes back and pushes the series to 2-2. A lot has changed for these Philadelphia 76ers. Are we watching the Philadelphia 76ers mature and grow right in front of our eyes? Because the Philadelphia 76ers have been tested in more ways than one throughout these playoffs. And they've managed to still maintain their poise and not lose sight of what the goal is. It also can be understated Joel Embiid's value. Joel Embiid should have been the league MVP. Yes, Jokic has this great stat line. Beautiful, right? But you can't deny Embiid's dominance. Embiid by far was the most dominant basketball player in the NBA this year outside of Giannis Antetokounmpo. By far the most dominant. And it's not even close. I actually would have been happier or understood if Giannis would have won the MVP. That would have made sense to me. But when I see a guy in Jokic who doesn't play defense, who has a very, very limited scoring package, in my opinion, and just doesn't have that dominant gene in his body. I know Jokic is an amazing passer. Playmaking is amazing for a center. He gets boards. He has a great hook shot. He can shoot threes. Yeah. But he's nowhere near the man, the dominant force as Joel Embiid. And I think we can see that with our eyes. There's no way in hell Nikola Jokic should have won back-to-back MVPs. There's no way. And all the people that voted for him, you should be ashamed of yourself, honestly. All those basketball nerds that really don't watch the game, they just look at these PERs and VORPs and these usage rates and all these advanced analytics. Bump that. You can't tell me Joel Embiid not the MVP, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. And these playoffs are showing you just that. But it was what it was. It is what it is. And maybe Joel Embiid will never win an MVP. But guess what? He still has a chance to win a championship this year. Unlike Nikola Jokic, who for the second consecutive year, when the award was announced who the MVP was, he was nowhere to be found. As a matter of fact, he was home. He was home doing absolutely nothing. Where is he from? Serbia? He was home in Serbia. Come on, man. You can't tell me Jokic is better than Joel Embiid. Anybody who says he is, you just don't like Joel Embiid, and that's okay. But don't sit here and say Jokic is better than him, because he's not. Jokic, in my humble opinion, is a really great center. He's the second best center in the NBA. And that's not a bad place to be. Jokic is better than Cat. Jokic is better than Clint Capella. Jokic is better than Bam Adebayo. Jokic is better than who else? He's better than Steven Adams. He's better than Brook Lopez. He's better than Anthony Wiseman. He's better than Al Horford. He's better. Like, I just don't like Jokic. Jokic is the second best center in the NBA, but he's not better than Joel Embiid. That's just my humble opinion about it. But the series, the Miami Heat Sixers series, is tied 2-2 now, and you have to pay attention to the way the team responded when Joel Embiid got back. You know, when Joel Embiid came back, the Miami Heat tried to go at him. They tried to make him work on defense, and they tried to force other players to beat them. But Joel Embiid's presence alone shifted the series. It changed how Miami defended. It changed how they allocated their resources. In games 1 and 2, all eyes were on James Harden. Now, with Joel Embiid coming back, you got to pay attention to Joel Embiid, and you can't double him. Because if you double him, you're going to get gashed by a Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, James Harden. James Harden had his best game in a long time as a Sixer. Put up 31 points. And he took over in that fourth quarter in game 4. Took over, 16 points, dropped 4 threes, was making contested three-point shots, was being aggressive, was getting to his spots, was being decisive. James Harden is much more potent as an offensive weapon when he's decisive. I would love to see James Harden actually play a little bit more off ball, a little bit more. Not a ton, but a little bit, because I believe if Tyrese Maxey can push the rock, that takes some strain off of James Harden, and he doesn't fatigue as fast. He still has his legs, and he can get that push to shoot the ball. But if James Harden is always the primary ball handler, if James Harden is being forced to dribble the ball more than 3 or 4 times, then it's going to get spooky. So the key to this series really is obviously Joel Embiid, but even beyond that, you know, James Harden has to come and do James Harden things. But we need, you know, Tobias Harris has been solid all playoffs. He's been the most consistent player outside of Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. So you know what you're going to get from Tobias. What the Sixers need, they need their guard play to be tremendous. They need guys like Tyrese Maxey and James Harden to have really good to great games. If either one of those guys has a terrible game and then the other has just an okay game, the Sixers lose. Joel Embiid is going to need all the help he can get. All of it. Because, and this is another reason why this man should be the MVP. He's playing on a torn tendon in his thumb. He's playing with a broken orbital in his eye. And he suffered a concussion. Made him miss 2 games. My man had to sit in the dark for 4 days straight. Playing with a mask on, a hand strap, a handband on. The man is literally duct taped, crazy glued on the floor. And he's still putting up numbers, still being the dominant force on both sides of the ball. If that ain't an MVP, then I don't know what is. But I know who isn't. Nikola Jokic is not the MVP this year. And those of you that voted for him should really be ashamed of yourselves. Your basketball cards should be revoked. And y'all should go back to being stuck in a damn closet, reading a bunch of stat sheets and Excel spreadsheets. Like, there's no way you can say with your eyes that Jokic is better. You just can't. Even when they played head-to-head, Joel Embiid outplayed him. He outplayed him. But that's just me. That's just my humble opinion. And Game 5 for the Philadelphia 76ers is tonight in Miami. I have the Sixers winning. by a small margin, but they win. The largest variance or disparity in this series has been the three-point shooting. I really believe Miami has been shell-shocked. I don't think they fully understood the impact Joel Embiid would have on the series, and they've been shell-shocked. But regardless, it's going to be really competitive. And when you think about what Jimmy Butler has been doing, dropping 40 last game, being spectacular, averaging 28, I believe, in the series. You know, PJ Tucker has been very, very key for them. Tyler Hero has been productive for them. Bam Adebayo has been productive for them, other than Game 3 when Joel Embiid came back, put the clamps on him. Victor Oladipo has been good coming off the bench for them. So ultimately, it's going to be competitive. The series is far from over. The Sixers have to win one on the road if they want to win this series. If they can steal one on the road, we can finish this out in Philly. So, if I'm giving you guys my actual prediction, because I actually said the Sixers in 6 or 7 in this series, but I'm going to lock in because it's guaranteed to go 6 games now. I say the Sixers close it out in 6 games. They close it out on their home floor. That's what I think. I think the Sixers close it out on their home floor. You don't want to go to back to. You don't want a Game 7 in Miami. You just don't want it. Like, you know, this is going to be such an interesting. It's so interesting. The whole dynamic in the NBA is interesting right now. I love it all. I love the competitive nature. I love what Joel Embiid's doing. You know, all the injuries he's playing with. And I'm really like. It's obvious that the MVP is a regular season award. It's obvious. It's very obvious that the MVP is a regular season award. I just don't believe Jokic had a better regular season, Wes. I just don't. And I'm not basing the MVP on him getting hurt the last few games because the MVP is not based on the playoffs. It's not. That's obvious. What I'm saying is you're seeing the value. It's called the most valuable player. You're seeing his value. You're seeing the value. And I disagree with you, Wes, because think about, and let's be totally honest about this too. Since when do we give MVPs to like 7 seeds and 6 seeds? Like the last 6 seed I remember to win the MVP was, I think, Russell Westbrook. And that's because he did something absolutely historic, iconic. But Nikola Jokic, here's my argument, really. Nikola Jokic didn't do anything that he didn't do last year. See, in my humble opinion, in order to win the back-to-back MVP, you need to topple by an astronomical margin what you did the year prior. You need to crush it. And he did not do that. He did what he normally does. Joel Embiid is the one who elevated, led the league in scoring, the first big man to do so since Shaq, the first big man to average 30 points per game since Moses Malone, the first international player to lead the league in scoring. The fewest minutes played by a scoring champion. That's dominance. Also trying to balance the Ben Simmons stuff with the media and all that, and literally missing guys. Literally missing a star player carrying the team. Carrying the team. He carried the team well before James Harden got there. And was still carrying, if you want to be honest, if you want to be frank. But it's okay, though. What's done is done. And I'm not even worried about the MVP because at the end of the day, my guy is still in the playoffs and your guy's at home. Your guy's at home. And that's all right. That's all right. And I ain't tripping. But we are about to book it, you guys. We are out of here. I really appreciate all the love you guys do, man. You guys are amazing. You guys are truly, truly amazing. You guys continue to hit that like button. You guys continue to subscribe and share the content. Really appreciate all the love and support, man. I'm going to be here same time tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Chalk It Up Sports Daily is coming at you hot and fast. So I appreciate all the love and support. I am your humble host, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got churches to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry.